Imagine it's 3:11 a.m. You're not awake because you heard a noise. You're awake because your brain just opened 37 tabs at once, and every tab is labeled, "What if something goes wrong tomorrow? What if your car dies on the way to work? What if your phone cracks and you need a new one? What if your laptop stops charging right before a deadline? What if your pet suddenly needs an emergency vet visit? What if your boss walks in and says, 'We need to talk'? What if your rent goes up? What if your hours get cut? What if, what if, what if? And you're lying there, staring at the ceiling, doing that thing where your body is in bed, but your mind is sprinting. Your chest feels tight. Your stomach feels weird. You keep checking the time like that's going to solve anything. Then you reach for your phone, open your banking app, and you do the most terrifying math in the world. How long could I survive if my income stopped? If you've been there, you already know the stress isn't just in your head. It's in your nervous system. It's in your shoulders. It's in how you breathe. It's in how you react when anything unexpected happens. Now here's the question. What if I told you there's a specific dollar amount that can eliminate most of those 3 a.m. panic spirals? And it's not a million, it's not a flashy number, and it doesn't require you to become some finance wizard overnight? Because there is. And the first real, my life feels different. Milestone isn't $100,000. It's not even $50,000. It's $10,000. Not because $10,000 makes you rich. It doesn't. Not even close. But because $10,000 makes you harder to break. I'm Ben, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, human psychology, and why some people face financial problems like their annoying speed bumps, while other people feel like a single unexpected expense could ruin their entire month. And today I want to explain what saving your first $10,000 really does, how it changes your daily decisions, your stress levels, your confidence, your relationships, and your ability to take opportunities you would normally miss. But to understand why $10,000 is so powerful, we need to start by being honest about what life feels like when you don't have it. Because when you have zero savings, money isn't just a thing you manage. Money becomes your environment. It becomes the air you breathe. It becomes the background music of your entire life. You wake up, and the first thought isn't, "What do I want to do today?" It's, "What do I have to pay for today?" You open your banking app like it's a medical test result. You don't want to look, but you have to look. You scan the numbers, and you're not feeling neutral. You're feeling either relief or dread. Then you go out into the world, and every normal moment turns into a calculation. At the grocery store, you're not just shopping for food. You're negotiating with reality. Name brand cereal or generic, chicken or the cheaper option, fresh fruit or frozen. Is this 2-for-1 deal actually a deal, or am I getting tricked? And here's the part that's brutal. You're not doing this because you love budgeting. You're doing it because one wrong choice can echo for days. Then your friend texts, "We're going out tonight, you coming?" And instantly your brain shifts into performance mode. Not, "Do I want to go?" but, "How do I decline without looking broke?" "Oh, I'm exhausted. I've got an early morning. I'm trying to eat healthier. I'm laying low this week." Because saying, "I can't afford it," feels like admitting you failed at adulthood. And if you're living like that, you're not just dealing with money stress, you're dealing with identity stress, You're constantly trying to look normal while internally feeling like you're one surprise away from collapse. That's what it means to live without margin. And margin is everything, because when you have no margin, every expense feels personal. It feels like the universe is targeting you. A $200 car repair doesn't feel like a repair. It feels like punishment. A $90 medical copay doesn't feel like healthcare. It feels like a trap. A small emergency doesn't feel small. It feels like the start of a chain reaction. Now here's what most people get wrong about financial milestones. They assume the benefits are about buying things. They assume the purpose of saving is to eventually spend. But the real power of $10,000 is that it changes how you experience problems. It changes your default emotional response. It changes your relationship with risk. And it changes your ability to make decisions without panic. Let me say it in the simplest way possible. When you have no savings, every decision has teeth. When you have $10,000, most decisions lose their bite. Because without savings, your life is a tightrope with no net. One slip and you fall. With $10,000, you still have responsibilities, you still have bills, you're still not rich, but now there's a safety harness. You can breathe. And breathing room is the foundation of every good financial decision. Now let's talk about what's actually happening inside your body, because this is where it gets real. Financial insecurity keeps your stress hormone, cortisol, elevated. Cortisol is useful if you're in danger. It helps you react. It keeps you alert. But when your brain thinks money is the danger, your body acts like it's being chased all the time. That's why people living paycheck to paycheck often feel exhausted even if they aren't doing that much. Their body is on high alert. It's why they're more irritable. It's why small inconveniences can feel like emotional emergencies. It's why they can't sleep even when they're tired. It's why they get decision fatigue faster. So what happens when you build a real buffer? Your body finally believes you're safe. And that changes everything. You stop waking up with a knot in your stomach. You stop feeling your heart drop every time your phone buzzes. You stop getting that uh-oh feeling when you check your email. You stop flinching when life gets slightly inconvenient. And that's why $10,000 is a psychological milestone, not just a financial one. Let's make it tangible. The check engine light. If you have no savings, the check engine light is basically a siren. Your brain instantly goes, how much is this going to cost? Can I pay it? Do I put it on a credit card? Is the credit card maxed? Can I borrow money? What bill do I delay? Am I about to miss rent? Am I about to get behind? How long will it take me to recover from this? You're panicking before you even know what's wrong. But with $10,000 saved, the check engine light comes on and you think, ugh, annoying. Not, I'm ruined. Not, I'm doomed. Just annoying. And that shift from panic to annoyance sounds small until you realize it affects every part of your life. Because when you're not panicking, you don't make panic decisions. And panic decisions are expensive. Panic decisions are how people end up in payday loans. Panic decisions are how people rack up credit card debt. Panic decisions are how people accept the first job offer even if it's worse. Panic decisions are how people stay in toxic jobs, toxic relationships, toxic environments, because leaving feels too risky. Calm creates better choices. Calm is a multiplier. Now let's talk about something even more important. Options. The real reason $10,000 changes your life is because it gives you options, and options change how you behave. When you have no savings, you're not really free to choose. You can't choose to leave a bad job. You can't choose to take a pay cut for a better long-term opportunity. You can't choose to move. You can't choose to invest in education. You can't choose to say no. You're trapped in whatever keeps the lights on. But when you have $10,000, you're not trapped the same way. You can survive the unexpected. You can weather a temporary setback. You can handle a surprise expense. You can be patient. And patience is financial power. Because the ability to wait for a better offer, wait for a better deal, wait for the right moment, protects you from bad choices. Now here's a truth. Nobody likes to say out loud. Desperation is one of the most expensive emotions in the world. Desperate people accept low pay. Desperate people accept bad terms. Desperate people accept predatory loans. Desperate people accept, we'll pay you later. Desperate people accept, just sign here. Desperate people accept, trust me. Desperate people accept anything because they can't afford not to. Savings removes desperation. And when desperation disappears, your confidence rises. You walk into conversations differently. You negotiate differently. You stop tolerating disrespect. Because you have leverage, and leverage isn't just for rich people. It starts at $10,000. Now let's bring this back to real life. What can $10,000 actually do? It covers most normal emergencies that destroy people financially. Car problems, medical surprises, job loss. Car problems? Most car repairs are $500 to $3,000. Even bigger repairs rarely hit $10,000 unless you need something extreme. With savings, you fix it and move on. Without savings, you finance it with interest and stress. Medical surprises? No, it won't cover major surgery, but it covers the life happens stuff. Urgent care, ER visits, prescriptions, minor procedures, dental problems. Job loss? This is the big one. $10,000 can buy you months of breathing room depending on your expenses. And breathing room changes everything. It means you can find the right job instead of grabbing the first one. And here's where the story gets bigger. $10,000 doesn't just protect you from problems. It unlocks opportunities. Because opportunities cost money up front. A certification course costs $2,000. A move to a better job market costs deposits and expenses. A networking event costs tickets and travel. Starting a small side hustle costs equipment or software. Even switching to a cheaper phone plan sometimes has a switching cost. Without savings, those things aren't decisions. They're fantasies. With savings, they become options. Now let's talk about decision fatigue, because this is the invisible tax of being broke. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're making constant micro decisions. Can I buy lunch today? Should I get gas now or later? Can I afford this subscription? Do I buy the cheaper version or the one I actually want? Can I go out with friends? Do I pay this bill now or gamble that it can wait? Each decision burns mental energy, and by the end of the day, you feel drained, not because your day was hard, but because your brain has been calculating survival all day long. Then you get home, and you're too tired to do the things that would actually improve your life, like applying to better jobs, learning new skills, planning a budget, improving your health, building relationships. That's the trap. Because financial stress doesn't just hurt your money, it steals your future. But when you have $10,000 saved, most of those micro decisions lose their urgency. You still budget. You still have limits. You still don't buy everything. But you stop living in constant brace for impact mode, and the mental energy you get back becomes a weapon. Because when you're calm, you notice things, you shop around for insurance, you negotiate bills, you switch to cheaper services, you cancel subscriptions you don't use, you optimize your expenses without feeling like you're suffocating. And those small optimizations compound. Saving $50 here, $80 there, $120 there doesn't sound sexy. But over a year, over 3 years, over 5 years, that becomes serious money. Now, I want to address something that might be the most important part of this entire topic. The hardest part isn't saving $10,000. The hardest part is becoming the kind of person who saves. Most people approach saving like a temporary diet. They cut everything fun, go extreme, hate their life, burn out, and swing back. The people who succeed do something different. They make saving part of their identity. They stop saying, "I'm trying to save," and start saying, "I'm a saver." That identity shift changes your decisions automatically. You notice waste you used to ignore. You stop buying things just to feel something. You build systems instead of relying on willpower. You stop treating savings as leftover money and start paying yourself first. And once you build momentum, it gets easier. The first $1,000 feels brutal because you're fighting your old habits. The second 1,000 feels easier because you've already built a pattern. By the time you're at $5,000 or $6,000, you've built the muscle. Now here's a reality check that might motivate you. A lot of people don't think they have money to save because they don't see where it's going. It leaks out in tiny convenience purchases, coffee, delivery fees, random snacks, impulse buys, subscriptions. Just this one thing. I'm not saying you should never enjoy life. I'm not saying never buy coffee. I'm saying most people underestimate how powerful awareness is. Because the difference between someone who builds savings and someone who doesn't is often not income. It's intentionality. It's noticing where money disappears. It's choosing what matters. It's building a habit and letting it compound. And once you hit $10,000, something incredible happens. You stop seeing money as something that disappears. You start seeing it as a tool. Before savings, money feels scarce and fragile. After savings, money feels like a foundation. And with a foundation, you can build. You start thinking about investing. Not because you suddenly became a genius, but because you finally have room to breathe. You start thinking about retirement. Not because you're obsessed with spreadsheets, but because you're no longer drowning. You start thinking about side income, not because you want to hustle 24/7, but because you realize options are powerful. And here's the mic drop truth. Someone with $10,000 saved is often closer to real financial freedom than someone earning twice as much with zero savings. Because wealth isn't just earning money, it's keeping money. You've seen it. 6-figure earners who are somehow always broke. Fancy apartment, expensive car, restaurant meals, subscriptions, upgrades. No savings. They look rich, but they're fragile. Meanwhile, someone making $40,000 who consistently saves can be far more stable, far more confident, and far more free. Because stability is a form of wealth. And $10,000 is the first time most people experience real stability. So if you're sitting there thinking, okay, cool, but I'm not even close, don't panic. Start smaller than you think you should. Save $25? Save $50. Save $100. Save something. Consistency beats intensity. Build the habit first. Build the identity. Then build the number. Because the transformation isn't just the money. It's who you become while saving it. You become someone who plans. Someone who's patient. Someone who doesn't crumble when life gets inconvenient. Someone who can say no. Someone who can wait. Someone who can invest in themselves. And once you become that person, bigger goals stop feeling like fantasies. They start feeling like inevitable steps. So yes, $10,000 won't buy you a mansion, but it will buy you something far more valuable: peace, options, confidence, breathing room. And that's the foundation of everything else. If you want more videos that break down money like this, real psychology, real strategy, real milestones that actually change your life, subscribe.